ChatGPT is something which everyone is using now. But do you know ChatGPT is based on a model which is called GPT? That means Generative Pre-trained Transformer. The transformer is an AI model that understands text by checking which words are connected with other words. It does not read the sentence in a sequence left to right like the older model. So when we start learning transformers, we come across this complicated image. Now my goal is to try and explain this complicated architecture in the simplest way possible. So let's get into it. When we type a line in Google, it tries to predict the next word. This was made possible due to a model called language model. GPT, which is behind ChatGPT, is called a large language model. It is called large because it has billions of parameters and it is trained on huge amount of data. Only the scale is the different. Otherwise, it will also do the same thing. When you ask a question, it will try to predict the next. Then use that predicted word, combine it with the input, and try to predict the next word again. Now, in the end, it produces a complete paragraph or a response which will look like a well thought out response. Now, let us start with the transformer architecture. There are mainly two major components, encoder and decoder. Encoder is responsible for taking the input and transforming it into positional vectors with contextual information, also known as contextual embedding. And then decoder, on the other hand, will take that generated contextual embedding and try to predict the next word. Now let us start with the encoder first. When an input is received, the first task encoder will do is pass that input through a tokenizer. This will convert the input into tokens. Then those tokens are converted into numerical representation called embedding. Every large language model has a vocabulary. It is the list of tokens which it has created during the training. It acts as a model's dictionary. Every input text must be split into these spaces, and every output is also chosen from this set. In this vocabulary, every token has an ID associated to it, which is identified for the input in the first step of it. Till this point, we have converted the words into numerical vector representation. To understand a sentence, we need to know the position of each word because having words in different positions can completely change the meaning of a sentence. So the next step in encoder is to add word position details to each embedding. This operation is called positional encoding. Now the core components of encoding layer starts after. First component is multi-head attention. Now attention we already know in the previous video. It helps to find the relation between different words in a sentence. In reality, a single sentence can have different type of relationship between its words. A single attention head will be able to focus on a single type of relation. For example, one attention head can focus on how the words are related from a grammatical aspect. Another head might be focusing on semantic relation. So due to this, we have a multi-head attention block running in parallel. All the output of those multi-head attention blocks will be combined in the end to generate a meaningful representation. Now the next component is add and norm. After self-attention, a lot of information will be transformed. But to keep the original input detail as well, that will be added back to the attention output. So now we will have original input plus attention output. This new combined information is called residual connection. Now, norm is responsible for normalizing the values. It is possible that after transformations, some values may become very big and some may become very small. So for such cases, the algorithms may become biased towards the bigger value and completely ignores the smaller ones. Normalization is a process to bring all the values on the same playing field. If you want to learn more about norms, I have already covered it in detail previously. So you can check out the video in this playlist. Now after this point, we will have enriched embedding. Those will be fed into a feed forward network. The feed forward network is, we can say, a small neural network which will be applied to each token representation separately. The job of the feed forward network is to take the input after attention detail and process and transform it further. It will capture the patterns and high order features which you cannot explain with the contextual relation. After that, once again, an add and norm operation will happen. Now with this, the encoder layer processing is complete. Output from this will be fed into the decoder layer. The decoder is responsible for generating the output sequence token one by one. Now, the decoder will get the contextual embeddings as input into a multi-head cross-attention component. In this, while generating the response, it will look into what the input was because it is very useful in considering the query as well before generating the next. So, in a way, This is how a decoder communicates with the encoding layer. The decoder cannot generate this entire sentence at once. So what it will do, it will start with a very special token called start. This token is passed through the output embedding. Just like we converted the input tokens into vectors using input embedding, the decoder converts the output token into vectors using output embedding. In this side also, we can see we have positional encoding done just like we did in the input side. Then we have a component called masked multi-head attention. Now, why do we need to mask something in this? The decoder is generating the answer one token at a time, and while generating, it should not be able to see the future words that come later. Without mask, the model would simply look ahead and copy the next word directly rather than learning how to predict a next word. Again, after that, we have add and norm blocks with multiple feed forward nets. After the final decoder layer, we finally have a representation that will tell us, based on everything the model has seen so far, what should be the next token. But this representation is still just a vector. We haven't generated an actual word yet. For that, we need final two components. The first one is linear layer. The output of final decoder layer goes into a linear layer and it converts the decoder representation into a score for every possible token in the vocabulary. Suppose our vocabulary contains thousands of tokens. The linear layer will produce a score for each one in an order and select the top words for further processing. All these scores which were generated in this layer are called logits. To convert them into probabilities, we need one final operation which is softmax. The logits are passed through softmax and it converts those scores into probability. Now, based on probabilities and maybe multiple other factors like temperature, the next word will be selected. Once selected, it will be added to the so far generated output and fed back into the decoder. Now, the same loop of operations will be repeated again. This will keep on going until either the response is completed or there is some other end condition. I have used multiple technical terms like softmax, logit, linear layer. All those things I have already covered in the fundamental videos. So if you are interested in learning them in detail and try to see how the things are happening under the hood, you can check out this particular playlist because it contains everything you need for all the fundamental concepts. Now, this brings us to the end of transformer processing. Transformers have a wide range of applications. It is used for natural language processing, speech recognition, and not only for text data, it can be used for image classification, recommendation system, and even music generation as well. So if you want to see how these components work visually, there is one GitHub repo which they have created and it is amazing. You can check out this GitHub page, which is Polo Club GitHub.io Transformer Explainer. Here you can see they have explained each and every layer visually. First layer is embedding, as we have discussed. So you can click on it to expand it. This shows how the words are first converted into token embeddings and then combined with the positional data. And the resultant vector is then fed into one of the transformer blocks. Now here each token is then represented in a query key and value details and passed through the multi-head attention block. Query key value, these details we have discussed in our attention video. If you want to know more about them, please check out the previous video. After that, we can see this MLP, which is a collection of feed forward networks that will process the data. And in the end, it will result in a final probabilities of possible next. If you want to learn more about these components, you can either click on it or you can scroll down to see that specific. Now, we have been telling all the benefits or good things about the transformer. If the transformer is so good, why not we use it in all the AI systems? Now, this is where you have to look for the trade-offs. Transformers require very high computing power, and in addition to that, it requires more memory and large data. It can also sometimes behave like a black box. That means you cannot explain why it has produced a specific response. Okay, so that is all about transformers, which I can process at the moment. I hope now you have a better understanding of how things are working behind the scene in most of the artificial intelligence. Now, what happens when you take these attention blocks we discussed, scale them up to billions of parameters, and train them on the entire internet? Then you will get a large language model like ChatGPT, Claude, and Llama. This is exactly we are going to discuss in the next video. If today's session was useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Till then, let's keep learning.